Shreveport City Council is now called to order. I'd like to recognize Pastor McLean, who is the Associate Pastor of Little Union Baptist Church, who will give us our invocation, and Councilman Everson will lead us in the pledge. Will you please stand?
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, how we bless your name for the privileges of democracy, of self-government. Ask you first to forgive us our sins, and then, Lord, we ask this meeting might be conducted in a manner that's pleasing in your sight. To though there are disagreements, let us not be disagreeable. And then, Lord, we pray for the city of Shreveport. You know the problems we're having, but nevertheless you can help us to solve them. We pray for our mayor, for the council, for the judges, and for the firemen and the policemen. To cover them with the blood of our Christ. And Lord, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members of the council, at this time I'd like to make a public service announcement about our mics. Please do not touch the mics. You're welcome to touch it, but just be careful how you handle it, because it will pick up. It's very sensitive, so we'll give it a trial today. We ask those that do come before us to speak. There's a tape in the back. You place your foot and stand either on it or right behind it, and just speak naturally. The mic will pick you up loud and clear, because we do have some concerns. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Bradford.
Present.
Councilman Everson.
Here.
Councilman Jenkins. Councilman Corbett.
Present.
Councilman Fleury.
Present.
Councilwoman Lynch. And Councilman Bowe.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
Councilman Corbin, motion. Second by Councilman Everson. Is there any discussion? Please vote. And the motion passes. Tanya, I have you on the board to speak. Okay, next does any council member have any awards recognition of distinguished guests?
Mr. Chairman, I had asked two individuals to come. Is Mrs. Sellers from the Independence Vote here?
Yes, she's here. Missy Sutter? Missy, would you come forward, please?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recognize Mrs. Sellers. She is the director of the Independence Bowl, and we met last week, and I was very intrigued with her information. I just wanted her to come and share with the council as well as with the city regarding the Independence Bowl and the status that we have for this year.
Okay, and I do have a presentation. I'd just like to go through a brief one. Name is Missy Setters. Address is 10711 Misty Circle, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. And thank you for the time. Okay, first of all, to get the elephant taken care of in the room, we will have a bowl game this year. So we'll have a 2017 Independence Bowl. And I just wanted to bring a little bit of information here for anybody who's not up to date on everything that's going on. The Independence Bowl is the largest nationally televised annual event in the Northwest Louisiana area, giving Shreveport a 3.5-hour window live on ESPN every year for us to showcase this community on a national stage. Our economic impact study from the 2014 game shows that we had an impact of $7.9 to $9.1 million, and that's direct visitor, indirect, and other spending. And then if you add in the exposure value, the media exposure value that's received through the bowl, those numbers jump up to $17.5 to $18.7 million in economic benefit. And that was done by an independent company that does exposure value studies for a number of bowl games through the country. Next is team host hotels. Samstown and the Hilton downtown are our two team host hotels. The Independence Bowl on any year will block off 760 bowl week hotel nights for the teams, just the teams, not fans, and at the Hilton in what's traditionally a really down season for tourism in the area. And between the Hilton and the Convention Center, both of those will make approximately $160,000 in revenue off the teams staying there. So that's just off the teams between the hotel nights and the F&B expenditures that the teams have. So that's just with the Hilton and the Convention Center. Then we have some opportunities in membership, and the opportunities include on an annual basis, what we do is we'll have catering, and we'll do as much of this locally as possible. Catering for events, catering for hospitalities, and then for a game day, we'll have ticket takers. And then, granted, this is done through the city and also the state fair in conjunction with the bowl. So you have ticket takers, program sellers, parking attendants, concession workers, shuttle buses, SPD that's hired for security for special events throughout the year, event venues that we use, community service scholarships that are given out each year, and an elementary school art contest that we've been doing for about the last 7 years. And of those, just for example, on a game day at the stadium, the concession workers, those are typically nonprofit organizations that will use that opportunity as fundraisers. Same thing with the program sellers. We use local high school ROTC groups to do the program selling, and that's also a fundraiser for them on game day. And then membership to the Independence Bowl Foundation. We're a nonprofit organization, 501c3. As of today, we have 403 members, and membership is open to anyone who would like to join the foundation, and membership starts at $100 a year. Events throughout the year. This year we have 28 events going on during the calendar year, and we have some new events that we added, including our Kid Combine, and that's it's an NFL-style combine that we do for area youth. We started doing it at Crawfest. That was our first one, and we do a 40-yard shuttle, 40-yard dash, shuttle drill, passing competition, and receiving competition. We set up a course out on the Betty, Virginia, in this case. So for Crawfest and for Wheels in the Hills, both days on the 18th and 19th, we did those out in Betty, Virginia Park, and we'll have a few hundred kids come through there. And then we'll also be doing one at Celebrate Barksdale. So we will have had 4 of those this year, and it'll culminate at Celebrate Barksdale, and then we'll have the champions from each of those events will participate in one on game day or during bowl week. Then we also had a new member event this year at Twisted Root, and we've introduced a block party and a pub crawl that we'll be doing in the Red River District this year, featuring the band The Toadies. So if you were a child of the 90s or a teenager or young adult during the 90s, hopefully you know who The Toadies is. And we just announced that week before last, so we're excited about that. The goal is to start the traditional pep rally and parade over at the boardwalk, but then at the same time we'll be doing a pub crawl on the Shreveport side, and the bands from the 2 schools will come over to the Shreveport side, and we'll be doing a pep rally and a battle of the bands under the Texas Street Bridge, and then we'll have the concert following that. And then revamped events for this year. We had our kickoff Ks, which is a 5K and a 10K, and we moved that to Betty, Virginia Park this year and had double the number of runners we had the previous year. So that event is growing, and we're excited about the future of it. It brings in a different demographic, a different age group. So trying to encompass all of Shreveport-Bossier and trying to encompass everybody in this area to get involved with our events. We also have Champions Saturday that we do at the local breweries, and that's obviously the first Saturday in December, where we just open to the public. People can come in and watch all the different championship games throughout the day. And then, as we mentioned, revamped the parade, pep rally, introduced the block party, the pub crawl, and we'll have a post-game ice skate at George's Pond, and we're also working in conjunction with the Mud Bugs on some promotions this year, too, that we're really excited about. And additional events throughout the year, we also have annual meeting. We have a crawfish boil for members. We have a fish fry. We do our youth football clinic, which is one of our biggest events that we do in Independence Stadium. We'll have anywhere from 300 to 400 kids involved in that. And we've maxed out for the last few years and had to cut off the pre-registration at 400. We bring in college coaches from all over the area to participate in that. And our kickoff luncheon is the second largest event that we do. This year we brought in Steve Spurrier as our guest speaker. We'll have anywhere from 700 to 900 people attend that event. Then on a smaller scale, we do our trivia night, which is open to the public, and then our NSU luncheon we do in conjunction with Northwestern State to kick off football season. Our team announcement party, big game show for the participating players from the two schools, our players' dinner that we do, and then chairman's reception, FCA breakfast we do in conjunction with Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Our Kids' Day Out and Ladies' Day Out, that's an event where we take the kids from the administrators and coaching staffs of the two schools, as well as the spouses from the two schools. We'll take them to various locations around the community and just highlight what we have. Obviously, local cuisine is a big thing on that one, and we're finalizing the various locations we'll use for that this year. One of the things that we get back from the feedback, the surveys done by the two schools, their players, is that they want more community service. They would rather spend more time serving the communities that they go to rather than spend time at a stale event. So we try to accommodate that. Last year we had them at Providence House and the Veterans War Veterans Home, and those two went over really well. And so we're expanding those two for this year. And last year both of the teams visited each of those sites, which is great, instead of splitting them up. And then we also try to get Barksdale tours if it works into their schedules. And then we have a news conference the day before the game at Independence Stadium. We do a media dinner where we take media traveling in and local media to Ernest for a dinner. And then we'll have our parade and pep rally and our fan fest on the fairgrounds on game day. And then lastly, the benefits to the city of Shreveport. We pulled some information from those exposure value reports. And probably the two biggest benefits are those two 30-second ESPN commercial spots. And those spots are valued at $107,000 this year, and the value of that goes up each year. So that gives the city two commercial spots during the ESPN live broadcast, and then it's also replayed. Those are included during the replays, and in a normal year you'll have a replay later that night after the game's already been played, usually around 11 or 12 o'clock, and then you'll have an additional replay after that. So the city gets the benefit of those two spots to highlight anything that they would like to highlight, and that goes out to a national audience. Exposure value, we have it broken down in those exposure value reports. So how many times was Shreveport mentioned? How many times was Independence Stadium mentioned? And so you can see from there, the CPM is a cost per thousand, and that's based off of the rating and exposure value of the game. So they take that and they assign a value to each mention and each minute that was given to those different areas. So in 2015, Shreveport alone had a CPM of $894,992, and then if you add the multipliers in, that goes up to $1.5 million. So that's exposure value that the city gets back. And then you see the Independence Stadium mentions added up to the $6,800 and the $12,000. And then in 2016, Shreveport enjoyed $169,757, and then the $668,000. Now, some of that is based on the length of the game, when the commercial spots are run, when the mentions are done. So if you have two teams that are passing teams and your game lasts 4 hours, then you're going to get more value out of that game. And then promotion of city events in Independence Stadium via the I-20 Message Center. Anything that goes on in the stadium, we put messaging up on the I-20 sign so that everybody passing on the interstate can see that. And then state-of-the-art video board system that was installed in 2014 in both the north and south end zones of the stadium. Of that, the bowl pays approximately $113,000 in the annual payments, along with the maintenance payments and the insurance, which is $14,000, and the maintenance varies from year to year. Press box renovation, we renovated the press box in 2002, expanded the capacity of the press box and the coaches' booths and the radio booths. And then finally, we're one of only 35 cities and 30 communities in the country to host a college football bowl game. And that takes into account that areas like the Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area, Frisco now, they have 4 bowl games in that area. And so you have a city like that or an area like that that has 4. You have Orlando that has 3. So we're one of only 30 communities to host a bowl game in the country.
Thank you. Yeah, very impressive presentation. Let me ask you, and we covered this a little bit on our visit last week, and I'm not going to be repetitious and say, and I know you're searching every day for a title sponsor, but absent a title sponsor, what would be the next most grand opportunity for us to subsidize the budget to get this done?
I think the biggest push for us is ticket sales. We'd like to see a full stadium. A full stadium entices sponsors. A full stadium will help to entice television's or title sponsor, and it looks good for our community, quite honestly. If you have a full stadium, then it's a great reflection on your community, and that trickles down to a bunch of different areas based on what people see from the outside looking in when they see Shreveport. So ticket sales, we have, on average, we'll have 150 sponsors locally, and we'd like to add more because the sponsorships, the ticket dollars, all of that adds up and allows us to continue on with this bowl game.
And I didn't realize so many activities was going on in the interim of the year. Are those covered as fundraisers?
Some of them are. Some of them are just added benefit for members or just something that we would like to keep our name out there in the public, some fun events to do. And some of them are fundraisers, yes, sir.
Well, again, I want to thank you. I've attended my share of Independence Bowl, and I would not want to see us lose that. And I after this year, I hope we can show that we are worthy of this continuation, not only through gaining the town sponsor, but as regards to the NCAA. I think you told me that when we kicked off the Independence Bowl, there was like 19 bowl games in existence then.
Well, in '96, there were 17 bowl games, and I think when the game started, there were maybe 7 or 8 bowl games back in '76.
And
And now we're at 39.
39.
Yes, sir.
And we're one of those.
Yes, sir.
We want to maintain. We want to do whatever we can do. I know the city is very involved and supportive of the bowl. It would just look bad for us to have to show that we can't support this. We want to continue with next year. And this year you eased my anxiety, and I'm sure others, that the game will be held. But we want to do everything we can after the game to start working on next year and
Thank
looking
you.
at who, how we can be attractive to title sponsors.
Yes, sir.
What's the payout for the teams?
It depends on your matchup, but it's a little bit above $2 million.
It's around $1 million apiece, something like that.
Close.
Close.
It can vary.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, well, we need to borrow some money from Mike and see if he can help us out. Okay.
I'll be on notice.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman. Thank
Any
you.
other councilman?
Well, just real quick on you said the membership is open to, and it's $100 anyone?
Yes, and it's $100 if you're under 35 or you live 35 miles outside of the city limits, and it's $200 if you're over 35 or live in the area.
Councilman Brown?
I'm in. I'm
I'm in too. So I just want to make sure on the record that they in. So we all in on membership.
He says the minimum. Jerry, he's gonna go. He like to outshine us, so he's gonna go under way more than we are.
So we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks.
Very.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have one other recognition, but I don't see. Is anyone here from Southern University at Shreveport? Oh, yeah. Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I'm in order, I would like to suspend the rules and take up Resolution 168. Is clerk be prepared to address that resolution?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Bowles. Any discussion? Please vote. And the motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this resolution is to acknowledge and recognize Southern University of Shreveport for their 50th anniversary. Southern University started in the fall of 1967 as a 2-year university, basically to provide higher education opportunities for students of this region. But more importantly, Mr. Chairman, it afforded those that did not have the resources to go outside of this area to attend college for college education. And through the last 50 years, Southern University has proven themselves to be a great institution of higher learning, where so many have launched their college careers as well as their professional careers right here from Southern University. We wanted to take this time to recognize them for that. Last week, they had a week-long list of activities where I had opportunities, as well as other councilmen had an opportunity to participate. The chancellor is out of town. He's in Baton Rouge at a very important meeting of the system. And this gentleman, and I forgot your name. I met you at the meeting on last.
Don Howard.
Don Howard is going to receive this resolution on behalf of the chancellor. So, Mr. Clerk, if you would read the resolution.
It's a resolution to recognize the 50th anniversary of Southern University at Shreveport and to otherwise provide with respect thereto by Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch and Councilman Willie Bradford. Whereas Southern University at Shreveport, originally Southern University Shreveport-Bossier, a unit of the Southern University system, was created by Act 42 of the Louisiana Legislature on May the 11th, 1964, and designated a 2-year community college to serve the Shreveport-Bossier area. And whereas Southern University at Shreveport opened for instruction on September the 19th, 1967, and whereas since 1967, Southern University at Shreveport has added new courses and programs, including the aviation program at the downtown airport and a satellite campus in downtown Shreveport to better serve the entire community. And whereas Southern University's main campus presently encompasses 16 buildings and 103 acres of land located at 3050 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, and the Southern University at Shreveport Metro Center occupies about 50% of the buildings on the north side of the 600 block of Texas Avenue in downtown Shreveport. And whereas Southern University at Shreveport, with 29 programs and more than 3,000 students per semester, enhances the cultural life and the economy of the greater Shreveport community. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due regular and legal session convened that the Shreveport City Council recognizes Southern University at Shreveport for 50 years of service to the citizens of the City of Shreveport and the citizens of this region. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be executed in duplicate originals, with one original presented to Dr. Rodney Ellis, the Chancellor of Southern University at Shreveport, and the other original filed in perpetuity in the office of the Clerk of Council for the City of Shreveport.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this resolution would be adopted.
Second.
Motion been made, second by Councilman Evers. Any discussion? Please vote.
You want to take a picture? Well, let me say this.
And the motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Howard, and I apologize because of the some items beyond our control. We hadn't signed the resolution. I'm going to forego presenting it to you, and I will personally present it to Dr. Ellis on his return from Baton Rouge later this week. But I will welcome any comments you would like to offer at this time.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, on behalf of Dr. Rodney Ellis, our Chancellor, our entire faculty, staff, and student body, we sincerely appreciate this resolution, the recognition, and the ongoing support that you all have provided to Southern University at Shreveport.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming down, and I appreciate it. I just apologize that we did not have it prepared for you today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Howard. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other council members? Madam Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one or two announcements, and then we have some guests that we'd like to bring up. First, let me just say today we participated in a press conference at our Shreveport Regional Airport to announce that we are certified as aero ready. This positions the city of Shreveport as an ideal location for aviation and aerospace companies. And let me tell you, this is good news for Shreveport. And now that we have this certification, we will be using it to market this great city. Shreveport is the first city in Louisiana and the only city in Louisiana to receive the Aero Ready certification. Mr. Chairman and council members, I'm proud to announce that the city has maintained its Class 1 fire rating. An assessment was done of the city's fire and water departments by Property Insurance Association of Louisiana, which is known as PEAL, in May and June of this year. The five-year rating serves as a measurement for insurance underwriters to set their fire rates for commercial and residential property in the city. We improved our overall rating from 90.58% in 2013 to 91.34% this year. This improvement was made possible by the dedicated men and women of the Shreveport Fire Department and the Water and Sewage Department, who daily serve the citizens of Shreveport. Also, today we want to recognize Mr. Tom Arsenault. He has an announcement that he needs to make, and then we will bring up Chief Wolverton to recognize our fine firefighters, and then we will bring up Republic Services to make a presentation regarding our new recycling services.
I will try and be uncharacteristically brief. I am one of 9 folks that you have confirmed to be commissioners of the Shreveport Implementation Redevelopment Authority, and I'm pleased to be here to announce that our organizational meeting will be next Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017 at 9 a.m. in the Mayor's Conference Room on the 2nd floor here at Government Plaza. The agenda is in the process. I thank Mr. Bradford for his assistance with us. None of us are quite official yet, but I was the closest one when the mayor invited me to come. So I wanted to let you and the public know that we're ready to get to work.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arsenault. And at this time, I also would like to recognize those from our fire department who were deployed to Texas and Florida to assist with rescue and recovery. And we have those fine people here today. I'm going to ask Chief Wolverton if he will come up and he will give you the names of these fine firefighters and those who graciously volunteered to go and help those that were in need.
Thank you, Mayor. Behind me are those firefighters who were called by the state of Texas and the state of Florida to provide services during Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. If you're not aware, Shreveport Fire Department is a host agency for part of the Louisiana Task Force Urban Search and Rescue Team. We are what's called Task Force 3. And every now and then when these disasters arise and our neighbors need help, they combine efforts of Task Force 1, which is out of New Orleans, and Task Force 2, which is out of Baton Rouge, and Task Force 3, which is out of Shreveport, and combine a team together to go and provide these services for our neighbors, and we're proud to be a part of that. Those here today, we have Fire Engineer William Millsaps.
Will you please stand as he calls your name? We'd like to see who you are. Thank you.
Firefighter Logan Kerr. Fire Captain Roy Hightower. Firefighter Dustin Rothell. Fire Engineer Matt Head. Firefighter Zach Allums. Fire Captain Roger Schumacher. Firefighter Keaton Dunn. Fire Captain Tim Bloxham. Fire Engineer Brandon Lee. Fire Engineer Ben Flores. Fire Engineer Rick Morrow. Battalion Chief Mike Mackey. Firefighter Leon Hedgepeth. And we also have Fire Engineer Justin Mackey. Those are our firefighters who serve. Mayor, I want to thank you for the opportunity to recognize them today. They train very hard to be a part of this team. They have to keep continuous training up, and they spend a lot of time away from their families and doing that. And also, just the travel to Florida was very very tough. They actually it was a two-stage trip. The first part of the first leg of the trip, they were in Marianna, Florida, right on the edge of Hurricane Irma coming through. And they actually staged there once the hurricane came through, and then they moved over almost to the east coast of Florida in Jacksonville, providing services there. So I'm very proud of them, very proud to be a part of this team and be able to provide this service to our state. And if I may, ma'am, make a statement about the Class 1.
Yes.
I do want to thank Mayor Tyler and thank you, our council members, for supporting our fire department. We would not be able to maintain Class 1 without your support. I also want to express a lot of appreciation to our water department. They are 40% of our rating. And if you know firefighting, you understand how important water is. And our water distribution system has greatly improved since our last rating. And I just want to thank our mayor for that and for you and our water department. If we can, I'd like to have them recognized too, Mayor, if we possibly could.
Ms. Featherston, where are you?
Why don't you come up and recognize your folks who assisted us?
And if I may, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, this rating is so significant, particularly to our businesses. I mentioned that earlier. It helps to keep the insurance rates down whenever we can receive this kind of rating as a Class 1. And it means a lot when you go to communities that don't have this, because the companies have to pay a lot more in fire insurance. So this rating really keeps Shreveport ahead of the game, and it is one of the tools we use to recruit companies to our city. So I just want you to know how significant it is. And I want to say thank you to Ms. Featherston and her team, because this is truly, as Chief Warburton said, is a team effort. And so these folks work really hard. People came in and they had to evaluate us. How long did that process take? Go ahead and speak, Barbara.
There's a kind of a multiple stages. There's a field stage where we do a lot of preparation to make sure everything's ready, and then they actually come in and spend several days with us going over records and doing flow testing. So they actually go out into the field and test the fire hydrants and flow. I don't know how many fire hydrants they've flowed with, a couple hundred fire hydrants, to make sure that our system is functioning appropriately, and that's what we get rated on. We're very excited that we increased our percentage from the last time to this time by almost a point, and so we're very excited about that, and we're hoping to do even better next time.
Thank you all so much. And thank you, firefighters, for all the services that you give. Yes, sir.
If we could we hear the names of the team that worked on this real quick? Just want to give them a quick recognition.
Yes.
Tabasha Watson.
Thank you.
Larry Henderson. It's more of us, but they're out there working. You and Curtis Davis.
Thank you so much, Chief Warburton. And now at this time, Mr. Chairman and council members, we're going to ask from Republic Services, Mr. David Green and his team will come up and make a small presentation, just giving more details about the transition from the Pratt Industries company that had been doing our recycling to Republic Services, who will now be directly contracting with the city of Shreveport. Mr. Green, thank you for being here. Also, Mr. Moore and Mr. Hughes.
We thank the mayor, administration, and council. And as the mayor alluded to, yes, now we'll be directly contracted with the city of Shreveport. We look forward, I've made several contacts with the council, the administration, and we look forward to building that relationship and growing that relationship. Can't tell you how much we appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm very proud of these two. In a very short period of time, we were able to meet most of the accommodations that we were asked to. And I've got Adam Moore here. He's the local operations manager. He and Mike, in the last 2 years, in fact, Adam actually moved here, and he was the one directly responsible for turning our recycle program around. And he hired Mr. Mike here, and it's been very good. And we're just continuing to grow with our service levels and continuing. But I'd like Adam to take a few minutes. I know we've had some questions about notifications and start dates, et cetera. We've come up with a very clear, concise start date, start program, and we just like to let the City Council, the administration, and the Mayor's office know exactly where we stand until this process starts on October 9th. So with that, I'm going to let Adam stand. Thank y'all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible, but in this presentation, I'm going to cover the Shreveport maps, the addresses, the notification of service changes to residents, the flyers we intend on mailing out, along with the automated call and the use of Republic Services call center. Hopefully, this will answer any questions that all of you may have. So, first of all, that map that you guys see up there, this is how it's going to look come October 9th. You'll see actually 4 red squares and 4 blue squares. Now this is going to coordinate with the current day of the week that MSW or trash routes run. We're going to stick with that. The only thing we're doing different is we're going to run them every other week. And this, along with the flyer that we're going to be mailing out, will kind of help the residents understand, hey, if you live in this section, this is going to be your service day. If you look on there, it says week number 1 beginning October 9th through October 13th. They are blue, corresponding with the 4 blue squares, and vice versa for the red. Okay. I put this slide in here because a lot of work went into this as far as having to download every resident from the city of Shreveport into our mapping system to be able to do this properly. So that is a very small scaled down version of what we had to do, and it'll get a little bit better here coming up. The recycle notification for the residents, this was a major concern as we talked to the mayor and trying to overcome some of these hurdles. So our best bet at this point was we're going to mail out flyers to each resident. In this presentation, I have a sample of this flyer, and I'd be happy to mail it to each one of you so you can see it a little bit better than on this presentation. These flyers will be mailed out starting October 4th, and once again, they will go to every resident in Shreveport, and that'll give them notification of what the program is, what we cannot recycle, when their service day is, and when it will begin. It will also include the Republic Services call center number where they can call and answer any question that the residents may have concerning this. Automated calls will begin September 28th. That is a tentative date. We're still in that process. I can say right now that it's going to 99% happen unless something terrible goes on. I'm looking for September 28th. Now, those calls will be automated, okay? There'll be a standard message going out, and I'll show you what that message looks like. But it will be a repeating message. So, you know, we may call them 3 times a week before service day begins over the next couple of weeks, or however that may work, okay? This is the Shreveport recycle routes broke down by day. Now, this is different from the first map. The first map broke it down by week. This is actually breaks it down by day. This does not really concern you as the city goes because it's just like the MSW or the trash routes, but I put it in there because of this. And this is each and every resident inside those routing areas. Now, what I'm able to do and how I'm able to notify all the residents is I can take each individual route, take the residents' phone numbers out, put them into our automated call system, and that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it by route, by day, so they know exactly when they're going to get picked up. Okay? This is a sample of the flyer that's going to go out. It's going to be a double-sided flyer. I know it's kind of tough to see on that background, but like I said, I will email it to you guys. The first First page is the actually what the program is and is not. The second page, or if they flip it over, the flyer over, it will have the map when their service day is, or service week is. Their day won't change. Plus all the information to get a hold of us at a call center to answer any questions they may have. Okay. This is just a quick sample of what the automated call will say. I can make changes to this at any point if you guys aren't happy with it. It's a pretty generic call, but I think it'll be effective. So the Republic Services Call Center, and we discussed this as far as taking some of the burden off the city. I know when this program started, you guys were fielding a lot of calls. I know that has kind of gone down, and I'm happy about that, and I hope you guys are too. But we are making some changes, and with those changes will come a certain amount of calls. I do not want you guys to have to burden that. So we have a call center set up that is able to handle anything that the city, the residents have for us. We'll be able to take care of it. It will be relayed to us at a local level so we can act on it promptly. We can get them any information they need. And once again, it will reduce the city's burden and increase your resources. Okay. And I believe that is it. Are there any questions I can answer for any of you at this point? Yes, sir.
And I guess it's a question, but it's also just a comment. When will this be uploaded to our city's website, particularly the phone number part of this deal? Because I do have a lot of people, when they have a question, they say, I go to the city's website to hit the phone. And I think that's a key to this kind of rollout.
Right. Councilman, it's already on the website. This PowerPoint presentation is already there. If someone will go to the website and then go to
can you search recycle?
Yeah, you can search recycle and go there as well, and it'll take you directly there. But if you go there, we're going to have an icon on the home page, so you can just click on it. But right now, if they go to the top where it says residents, and then they scroll down, Shreveport Recycle, click on that, and this presentation will come up. They can play it in its entirety, and they can stop it and look at the map and do their homework there. We're going to try to make it as easy as possible for the next couple of days. We'll also have a map that'll come up for the weeks. They'll be color-coded by a blue and a red to signify what week you were to be picked up at.
Okay, and certainly, not that the map, I intend to kind of mail if you send me a copy of that deal, I'm going to send it out to my neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Associations for obvious reasons, right? And it's difficult to tell, but I want to make sure that map is high enough resolution that people can tell the streets, because in several of our districts, we have more than one
that's
overlapping. So
that is a concern of ours also, and we kind of we looked at that map, and Brian and I talked about it a little bit, but in order to get the whole thing on the one flyer, it was a little bit off. So we're working on that. They're actually going to go out for print tomorrow morning, but I'm doing the best I can with that. So.
And I'm not. All I was saying that if you send a different version of the map
I understand
to a
what you're saying.
councilman or whatever,
I can actually.
You could maybe just tailor it a little bit so that when I send it to the neighborhood association, they'll be very clear on saying we're purple.
So you know what I can do is I can get it really big so I can get every street on it and send it to your respective district. How's that?
At least I think that might help overcome the challenges.
Absolutely. And that way if a resident calls you, you can say, yep, you're right here and this is what it is. I can do that.
Jeff, this is important to note, I think, that glass is allowed now.
Yes.
We can.
Glass is allowed.
Not till October the 9th.
Correct.
Don't put any glass in there yet.
October the 9th, yes.
Yes, that's true.
Well,
We wouldn't recycle glass originally.
but will it be recycled, or is it?
That is a question
Just
for Pratt. I
dependent
can
on-
tell you, I can only speak for what Republic does, and how that whole process works is obviously recycle is split up between paper, plastic, cardboard, glass, et cetera, and it's a commodity issue, so you'd have to probably speak for Pratt on it.
Depends on their end user.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Up until this point, everything about recycling has been based on residents who have water meters and for billing purposes and for a lot of our accounts. When you talk about sending all the residents a flyer, and automated phone calls. Are you still going off of water records to do that?
I believe yes, that's where we got the information from.
Councilman, that's the list that we provided to him from water and sewer.
Okay. In Southeast Shreveport particularly, there are some very densely populated neighborhoods where residents do not have water meters. There's a master meter for those neighborhoods. I can help you identify some of those. Most of them have a very active homeowners association or POA, so they'll get the notice and they will get the word out. But I didn't want you to think that if you're using that list, that you're going to reach all the residents.
No, sir. That is a contingency we thought of, and actually Mike has been addressing that as far as, there are numerous HOAs throughout the community, and we are going to be in contact with them to give them the same notifications as we're going to mail out to all the residents.
And I don't know if there's room to do door hangers or something like that, but I can give you some very specific neighborhoods that don't, where the residents don't have an individual meter.
Okay.
And you will not have them in any kind of list.
Okay, and I'll have Mike reach out to you, and we can get that handled.
Perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me first express to the mayor and her administration, certainly, and as well as to you for meeting this compromise of continuation of recycling. I think at one point there was some discussion that if we could not reach a compromise, that recycling would have been put at risk for this city, which again would have been a very unfortunate travesty that a city of this size could not participate in the very important project of recycling. And I see Donna Curtis here, and she actually called me and said, we got to have recycling. Hi, Donna. And Shreveport Green, so and that you was able to do that. But let me ask you also. And the council chair mentioned that the glass was now acceptable. Are there any items that we would assume that are recyclable that will not be should not be put in those containers?
No, sir, not that I'm aware of. The program will not change. Everything we're recycling now, we're going to continue to recycle. We're just adding glass to it on October 9th. So.
I mean, and the great thing about this arrangement is that, you're doing what you've been doing, and now you're going to be doing it, in a more aggressive manner because you're responsible. In regards to those residents that won't get the memo or won't get the notification that recycling won't be weekly, and it was mentioned yesterday, I think, and I think the mayor mentioned that another recycling can would be provided for those that requested and those chronic recyclers. Are there any other? In some cities, they have smaller type containers. Is that any other alternatives?
As far as an auxiliary container,
Yeah.
I guess that's what you're questioning?
Well, I'm saying that my understanding is that will be provided.
Okay.
But my second question was that those that may not can control or would like to handle the big blue can, are there any smaller containers that could be made available to them?
Okay. We can help the city find carts, etc., but on the original RFP, the Republic, we're not responsible for the carts.
Absolutely.
And that is a city directive, and they'll be taking care of it. So I think Mr. Crawford has alluded to the way that possibly the city will do that. I do understand there's going to be people that need more than one cart, but the city is responsible for the cart situation. And we as Republic have numerous resources that we can help locate, and great prices, as far as what great price is on carts, we can help with that. But we're not providing any carts whatsoever.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And may I just respond, because the Republic Services will not be responsible, as Pratt was not responsible for the bins, the recycling bins.
Okay.
We've already provided those to every resident And so we're going to keep using those because we pay quite a bit for those bins. And so if they don't have as much, they can just put what they have in that bin. That's the answer to that question.
Okay.
We're not going to, the city does not make any money on this. It's just a flow-through. We pay the $250 per resident. We paid that directly to Republic like we did to Pratt. The beauty of this one is that we're not going to be increasing any amount to the citizens, and we still get to protect the environment by recycling. But the bins that we're using, we'll continue to use those.
Okay, no alternative bins. Okay.
No, sir, because that means that we'll have to now spend money that we don't have to buy more bins. So we're asking the citizens to just keep using the same bins, and if there's a need to replace one, they need to see us, and we'll take care of replacing.
Thank you. I knew that, but I didn't think about that.
Okay.
That we provide those bins. My last question to you is, like solid waste, occasionally a house would be missed. What's the remediation on that? If somebody calls you and say you didn't get my can, are you prepared to do that, or do they have to wait till the next cycle?
No, sir. Actually, if you call me on Wednesday and you call me at 4 o'clock and say, I missed your container, the truck's going back that same day to get it.
Okay.
Now, on rare occasions, I mean, something's going to happen. Maybe one of our trucks broke down. We weren't able to get it up, and it becomes a safety issue for the truck to be running out at night and, out of hours situations and everything like that. Any operation does. A rare occasion, it may be within 24 hours, but I am not going to make you wait till your next cycle to get to recover the trash.
Our service standard is within 24 hours of the day.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear that would happen because I don't want the residents to feel like that they didn't have no recourse if
they call in and they'll call our customer service. Not only are customer service going to notify Adam, myself, and Mike, but also we're able to track each complaint and provide detailed reports back to the council administration on a monthly or quarterly basis of exactly what we have. So everything, we're going to be transparent, so you're going to know, what our participation rates are, what our complaint rates are, and also the good part is, what's the reason for the complaint? Is it that we missed it? Is it cart, can, et cetera? So we're looking forward to being able to educate all of us in this process for a complete and better program.
And would it be possible to request, what I'd really like to see is, obviously, and the last time we reviewed this in the Audit and Finance Committee meeting, the benefits to recycling sometimes I think are undersold to our citizens. Sure, it's good for the environment and it's good to, get the boxes out of our house in a good way and but the savings to citizens, the savings to the public infrastructure, the savings to the cost of that landfill are tremendous. And I really hope that by going to twice a month, we don't lose much participation. I know there's a chance that we could. I hope that we don't. But I would like to watch that so that we can see, so that we can, be able to tell the citizens what the benefit of participating in this program is, because it is not just a feel-good thing, it is dollars and cents in the public coffers, and I think it's important that we stress that.
What I'm able to give you on that aspect as far as participation rate goes is I'm going to track the tonnage that we take to Pratt. I'm going to track, we'll be running route audits probably twice yearly, so that'll give you a participation number, and plus you can look at the tonnage and say, okay, we're running 8,000 tons last year and we're down, dropping off, or we're actually gaining, whatever the case may be.
Great.
So I'll be able to give you all that information.
Well, thank you so much. That'll be so helpful.
And one of the things, Councilman, to your point, just to put a dollar figure on it, right now, last year, there was about an 8% divergence of all solid waste. The original goal of the program is 20%, 20 to 30%. We'd like to see that doubled. I mean, that's kind of a goal that we've set for ourselves, because they believe, Republic believes, even though we're only picking up twice a week, they'll still pick up the same tonnage and then some additional. That savings alone, just to the landfill, was about $186,000. So if we're able to double that, you're looking at a $300,000 to $400,000
And
savings.
was that because I remember there was a number in the audit that I felt
That's an audit
like
number.
was it was only representative of not the full time that the contract had been out.
Correct.
So that number may even be higher.
That's correct.
And so, like I say, to your point, I mean, it's certainly a cost savings in the long run and an environmental impact that's improved for an area that has ozone containment issues, or that those are a concern of ours. Both are great goals and reasons to encourage participation in the program. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely. And if I may, Mr. Chairman and council members, one of the things that we've talked with Republic Services about is the fact that we're going to do and we'll work with them to do more education of the advantages and the benefits for recycling. So our goal is to increase the number of participants that we have right now in the recycling program. So we're going to be doing a lot of education with our public and with our citizens so that we can get more people on board with recycling. That is a commitment that we've made because we know that the benefits are great for doing recycling. And I said it, I think earlier today, I don't know of another city within our region, Northwest, that's really doing recycling. But Shreveport is doing it, and it is beneficial. So we're going to try to educate more our publics about, and they're going to put some benefits, and they're going to put some things on the flyers that they're going to send out. But we'll be helping to do more of that.
Thank you.
Okay? Any other
questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank y'all.
All right, and that ends what we have today, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's move on to reports. Does any council member have any questions in the reports? Okay, no public hearing. Adding legislation to Mr. Thompson, is there any?
We have a couple of items, Mr. Chairman. One is Resolution 169. It authorizes the purchasing agent to dispose by public auction of surplus vehicles and items and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. And ordinance number 103 of 2017, it amends various sections of the Unified Development Code. I don't know whether you would want an explanation of the UDC amendments. Briefly, there are two things, as I understand it. I just got this. But one is it adds a drive-through facility. It is now recognized as a principal component of a financial institution. And secondly, it has been amended or will be amended so the City Council can approve with modifications a recommendation from the MPC. Prior to this, the City Council either had to approve or disapprove.
Is there anyone here from the public to speak for this? Okay.
Oh, the other thing is that they're putting it on the agenda now. The MPC must consider this, and this will not be up for adoption until after it's considered.
Why?
Well, because that's what.
Because of the order of, remember how to make a change to the actual zoning use matrix of the large.
The state statute 140.30 requires you to go through the MPC first before you make an amendment to the zoning map. This allows for it to be introduced, but because you won't have final passage until October 10th, it will still be in the order without delaying the timeline.
And the MPC, they should consider it on the first.
So they'll be able to consider it without delay, so it won't affect our.
Alvin, any questions?
No, sir, I've been working on it for a good portion of today.
You're going to let that fly with no question. I believe that's the first,
because I
Gary.
had 4 phone calls on it earlier today, too.
All right.
No, but this is exactly what we talked about in our last meeting.
Correct.
All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, have you polled the audience for?
I have, and there's no one stepped forward.
So I move, Mr. Chairman, that these items will be added to the agenda.
Second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. And it passes.
Mr. Chairman, we have no confirmations or appointments, and if there's nothing else, we are under, no, wait. Do we have a
Public comments of the Vice Chairman.
I have Mr. John Gatz speak on ordinance 88. State your name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is John Gatz, Regional Project Manager for EcoSite. My address is 4227 Cuesta Drive, Irving, Texas 75038. Mayor Tyler, distinguished councilman, EcoSite is in the process of negotiating a lease with the city of Shreveport in order to go ahead and erect a cell tower over at the Veterans Park. What we've found is that Shreveport is growing. It's expanding. It's adding more individuals to your role every single day. According to the internet, Shreveport is the 3rd largest city and the principal city of the 3rd largest metropolitan area in the U.S. state of Louisiana, as well as being the 109th largest city in the United States. With the greater influx of your citizens coming back into the metropolitan areas, faster data transfer systems are required in order to handle the ever-growing traffic on the internet and in the wireless community. The smarter the phones that are and tablets that are being developed nowadays require the faster speeds, the more memory-intensive type of applications that are actually being done. And also, the newer phones coming out are allowing people to actually use their phones as hotspots, so that rather than having to go on to an unsecured network, you can now put your laptop into your phone and have a secured network so that you don't have to worry about somebody peeking into what you're actually doing. 92% of all U.S. adults have cell phones nowadays, and 60% of those individuals have smartphones. 45% of all U.S. adults have tablets, and that number is growing every single day as the technology increases and the prices go down. The average Shreveport household has more than 5 mobile devices, and most of the Shreveport households have completely eliminated the landline concept. Everyone is opting to go with their cell phones, and over 85% of E911 calls nowadays are actually made by cell phones. The city of Shreveport has mobile applications. They also have your websites for the city, for the police department, for your ISD, for the fire department. In addition, all of your major universities, all your colleges, have ability to go ahead and not only register, but to take classes online. The current site plan that we have over in Freedom Park as part of Veterans Park is up on the screen right now. You'll notice the shaded areas on that. That's the existing concrete that we've reached an agreement to go ahead and remove so that the SPAR can go ahead and put in more grass, sort of level it out. We'll also be removing the sidewalk area and so forth in order to go ahead and just completely clean out the area. We're also going to be going ahead and putting 80 knockout rose bushes around the outside of the compound, which is going to be encased with a board-on-board fence painted green to go ahead and just match back into the background. A similar sample of the board fence is on the screen right now. This is what the actual site itself, you'll see that the antennas, radios, and so forth are actually going inside the tower itself. These are samples of what the tower is actually going to look like when it's completely done. And with that, we requestfully respect and ask for your approval.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Sammy Mears.
Excuse me.
sorry, Sammy.
State your name and address, please. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I believe that a while back, Uber was being talked about being brought to Shreveport. This might be good news for other people, but not for myself. And I can speak for those who would want to be here today and that they couldn't because of work conditions. And I quoted this a while back, I'm not giving up my cab driver, Larry Crawford. He's been very good to me. He takes very good care of me and the regular people that he picks up during the week and on Sunday morning. Uber is probably going to be cheaper, and people do have the right to make whatever choice they want to. And I did say when it was brought up that I did quote this. In parentheses, I would stay with my personal cab driver. Larry Crawford's been a very good person, does a great job on Sunday morning getting me to Sunday school and church and other people to work and home. And of course, we had already talked about it before. We and some other people had already discussed this matter. We knew where we already stood the last time, and we're going to stay with Larry Crawford. The fact of the matter is that other people and myself feel this way, and that's just how we feel. I would suggest that you might just want to leave that alone, because if Uber comes to Shreveport, I don't know these people. They don't know me. And that is a fact. They don't want to even know me, because if my friend doesn't know that woman, they don't want to know me.
Mr. Mike Bosada. State your name and address for the record, please, Mr. Bosada.
Good afternoon, Mike Busada, 954 Azalea Garden Drive, 71115. Madam Mayor, Mr. Chairman, and members of the council, I'm here on behalf of Lyft, and just want to, as I said yesterday, just want to give our full support to the ordinance that is up today, and just again want to thank the mayor and her staff and members of the council for being so wonderful to work with throughout this process.
Thank you, Mike.
Ms. Thompson, we're at Resolution 169, correct?
163, we are under consent agenda legislation. There are several items, Resolution 163, 167. We've already adopted 168, and there was one added, 169. So 163, 167, and 169 can be adopted at this time.
Move for adoption of the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second by Councilman Corbin. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passed.
We're now into resolutions on second reading and final.
I didn't get you.
Oh, yeah. I voted yes.
You ready? We're now into resolutions on second reading and final passage. Resolution 156 authorizes the mayor and the Shreveport Police Chief to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of Shreveport and the Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control for the purpose of allowing a Louisiana ATC agent and ATC analyst to utilize office space inside the Shreveport Police Department's building.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Everson, second by Councilman Corbin. Any discussion? Please vote. And that motion passes.
Resolution 157 accepts a 2016 to 2018 Transportation Alternatives Program grant for transit amenities for the downtown circular route.
Second.
Councilman Everson, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes.
Resolution 158 authorizes the acceptance of a donation from Wells Fargo Premier Asset Services and
So
otherwise
moved.
provide with respect thereto.
Second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman, Resolution 159 needs to be postponed.
So moved to postpone until October 10th.
Second by Councilman Jenkins for a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Passes.
We're now in the introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to October the 10th. Resolution 164 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of act of donation between the city and Home Federal Bank for the private sewer improvements for Home Federal Bank on Piermont Road. Resolution 165 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of act of donation between the city and Carl and the Rosenblatt Construction, herein after called owner, enacted herein through Carl Rosenblatt for the Fern Avenue Sewer Main Extension. Resolution 166 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of act of donation between the city and the Shreveport Development Corporation, herein after called owner, enacted herein through Donnie Juno, president, for the private sanitary sewer and water main extensions and related facilities to serve Orleans Court and 12 Oaks.
So move for introduction.
Councilman Corbin has made a motion, and who was the second? Councilman Bowman. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion is passed.
We're now in the introduction of ordinances. The first is Ordinance 100. It amends sections in Chapter 10 concerning alcohol beverages of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Shreveport relative to Sunday sales and hours of operation for alcohol and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Ordinance 101 is a zoning matter, C-59-17. It rezones property located on the north side of Kinney Road, 1,345 feet west of Linwood Avenue, from R1D and I1, Urban One Family Residence District, and Light Industrial District to R1D PUD, Urban One Family Residential District with a planned unit development. Ordinance 102 is a zoning matter, case number C-76-17. It rezones property located on Astor Place between Briar Crest and Mykonos Trail in Shreveport from C3 and R1-7. General Commercial Single Family Residential District to R17 PUD. And the one that was added is Ordinance 103. It amends various sections of the UDC.
So moved. Second.
Quick comment, if I may.
Yes.
I need to apologize. I said I worked on it this afternoon. I did not work on it. That would be Attorney Bradford. Their attorney worked on it. They did call me and ask me a few things. I had a few questions for them. So just so clear, I did not work on it.
Well,
They did the
I
work.
appreciate that you have repented, and
repentance
repentance is the first way. Repentance is the first step. Councilman Jenkins.
I saw Attorney Strand eyebrow raise when you said that. So something going on with that.
All right, any discussion? Please vote.
Who's second?
I mean, I'm happy to second.
Let's please vote.
Councilman Cole.
Motion passed.
We're now into ordinances on second reading and final passage. Ordinance 84 authorizes a purchasing agent to advertise for and solicit sealed bids to sell to the highest responsible bidder.
That's the postpone until today. Sorry.
No, we're good today, right?
We're good today, excuse me.
Yeah.
We're voting, right?
Yeah, motion
Councilman
stands.
Everson made the motion, seconded by Councilman Bowman, and is there any discussion? Please vote. That passes.
Ordinance number 88 authorizes the mayor to execute a lease of a portion of city-owned property
So
located in
moved
Caddo Parish.
on ordinance 88.
Motion by Councilman Everson, seconded by Councilman Jenkins. Is there any discussion?
Are those amendments need to be dealt with?
Those are exhibits, I believe, and I believe
Are they
there's
exhibits?
amendments on it.
Okay. All right, let's vote then. Motion passes.
Ordinance 93 amends the 2017 Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund budget.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Councilman Jenkins. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay, that motion passes.
Ordinance 94 amends the City of Shreveport's 2017 capital improvements budget.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Corbin, second by Councilman Everson. Is there any discussion? We can't keep going with you not discussing something. Please vote.
That's why you have a work session. The idea is to use it to answer your questions.
Well, go on then. It's good.
That's the whole point of that.
Yeah. Question. Well,
That's not what Councilman Bradford wouldn't say the same.
He's like,
I'm from the Josiah School. They didn't tell us that. Just anytime.
the intent is not to log more time on TV time. The intent is to get
Jeff.
the questions asked anytime.
Please vote.
See what you started?
Jeff,
Each their own.
Jeff.
With that. Oh, didn't go through? Did you get me?
And that passes.
Ordinance 95 amends the 2017 budget funding
So moved.
contractual services
Second.
for sport training.
Second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Let's vote. Motion passes.
Ordinance 96 amends the 2017
So
capital
moved.
improvements budget.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bowman. Any question, discussion? Please vote. And that motion passes.
Ordinance 97 authorizes the mayor and the city transit management to execute a
So moved.
non-exclusive.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote.
Which one is this one?
Is there an amendment to 98?
That's what I'm 98.
And that passes.
Ordinance 98 amends Chapter 102 Vehicles for Hire, Article 3A, Operating Regulations, Section 102-88 of the Code of Ordinances relative to transportation network companies.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilman Everson. Any discussion? Please vote. And that motion passes.
Ordinance 99 needs to be postponed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Please vote.
Just for sake of clarity, the postponement is just due to notification timelines for that procedural.
Correct.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And ordinance 89, I believe it was postponed already until September the 12th, so I don't think any action needs to be taken.
Until October 24th.
Yes.
October.
October the 20th.
So moved to postpone till October 24th if we need to again.
And that's second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion?
Let's be safe.
Please vote.
Better safe than sorry.
Yes.
Motion passes to postpone.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware, that's all of the items that we have on the regular agenda, and I'm not aware of any item to be removed from it.
Mr. Thompson, there are no appeals and AVO appeals, no property standard appeals. There's no MPC or ZBA appeals to consider at this time.
You're correct, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committees?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I'm sorry.
The Audit and Finance Committee will meet October the 5th at 9:30 a.m. We have an audit to go over. We will, I'll send out a draft copy of that when internal audit releases it. And I'd encourage all council members, if you can, to be present for that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? I was just going to say that the Infrastructure Committee did meet yesterday and had a really productive review of the mid-year State of the Infrastructure report. Got a chance to sort of discuss that report in a little bit more detail. We also had some citizens with an infrastructure concern that came to the meeting, and it was good to be able to hear directly from citizens. I hope they were able to. Brian, do you know if we were able to follow up with those people today? Good.
Water and sewer and street and drainage both went out.
Glad to hear it. I know they were
they were very polite, and I'm glad they were able to come down and get some results. So we appreciate the quick follow-up on that, and hope we're able to continue working towards that. And then in that committee, we also talked about maybe a sort of a report that we could get that will help us keep track of progress on capital projects that are long-term.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think we're going to try to have a public safety meeting October 10th at 1:30. Public safety, October 10th, 1:30.
Okay.
October 10th, 1:30. Public safety. Just a
Okay. Is any additional communications from the mayor?
No, sir. Thank you.
Mayor, could I ask you see if you had, were you given any information by Homeland Security about the cargo planes of citizens from Puerto Rico that were brought into the airport? And
Yes, sir.
Do
Yes, sir.
you know where they've been transferred?
I can call Chief Wolverton because he headed up that operation with Shreveport.
My interest is, are they in District E at Juella there at the?
We will be able to tell you where they are. Okay.
These are patients from hospitals and from Puerto Rico. They have no power, no water, no kind of services, and they have been flown here to the United States, and they have been placed in Region 7 hospitals, which is about a 7-parish area here that can meet the needs of their particular treatments. So that's where they have been relocated to. There is no shelter open.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I understand they've been taken to VA too.
They were definitely taken to some VA hospitals, but I don't know which ones in particular.
And I'm not sure that we're supposed to say.
Okay.
We just know that we were given orders to put them into various hospitals.
Most of those patients were critical patients.
Well, it's
That's a good thing.
great that our community is able to take people in such a time of need, and that it's just a tragedy, the situation that they're going through. My wife's family is Puerto Rican, and it was not till yesterday that we heard from one of them. So, it was it's hard on a lot of the people that are there, and so it's really great that our community is able to take those people in during this time of need for Puerto Rico.
U.S. territory.
Absolutely. And a beautiful place that's going through some really tough times. So good that we're able to open ourselves to them.
Okay, any other council member at this time? We'll go to public comments.
Okay, well, I do have,
Okay.
are we under additional communications?
Yes.
Okay. So for those that are interested in precipitating the demise of District C councilman, I am rappelling off of a building downtown in 2 weeks from Saturday. It's part of a fundraiser for the Fuller Center. Liz Swain happens to be one of the other fellow participants. There are many around the community that are doing it. And so this is a solicitation to go out and particularly make a nominal contribution to either, as I said, the potential demise of this councilman or another individual that's out there, taking their life at risk for the benefit of this community.
Will you be dressed as Spider-Man?
I do not believe I will be in a city council attire representing the city of Shreveport.
Okay, well, I sure want to be able to, I want to buy the ticket or whatever on that.
Well, you can go to the edge of northwestlouisiana.com.
Okay.
And there's an opportunity to make a nominal contribution.
Okay.
I think I saw on social media there's a bidding contest to help get the rig attached to the building. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
There's more interest in who attaches the rig than the actual supporting of the rig.
Mr. Chairman, has EMS been notified?
No, but they need to be.
No, but there's an alcohol permit.
I saw the Chiefs here perk up earlier.
Alcohol. They have already got their alcohol permit for that day.
All right. Okay, any other
Councilman Jenkins, can you email us that link?
I would be happy to do that.
Just to the council people.
I would do that. You bet.
I'd like to get it also.
Mr. Chairman, I have one announcement.
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
trying to get it from upstairs. There will be a ribbon cutting tomorrow at Christian Services. Some of you may or may not know. And so if you're invited to come, we'll send you something a little bit later this evening, if you'll check your emails for that exciting opportunity to come and see us cut that ribbon over there on Levy Street. So we'll send you something.
The chairman is a member of the board.
Oh, are you?
And Al is here.
Al, the members of council, if I could bring
right?
up Al Moore.
Come on.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
May he come
No,
up,
no,
Mr.
that's fine.
Yeah. Come on, Mr. Moore. Thank you.
Al Moore, 3711 Crestview Drive. Once again, Christian Service is excited. We've been working on this project for 4 years, and we're having our grand opening tomorrow, September 27 at 1 p.m., 2346 Levy Street. Really want to thank the city of Shreveport because they've really been supportive of helping us get this project done. And I came down today to personally invite the mayor and everyone and a member of the council to come by and support us.
Could you step back a little bit?
Yes,
From
sir.
the-
No, it was too much.
Too much.
Echoing going through.
Right there.
Okay. Yes, Al Moore, 3711 Crestview Drive.
I know the temptation is to talk into it, but these mics are super powerful.
Oh, they're super powerful. Yes. Once again, we'll be having our grand opening at 2346 Levy Street, 1 p.m. And I'm personally inviting the city council and the mayor will be on our agenda. And once again, we want to thank the city of Shreveport for all the work they've done to help us get this project done.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to do that.
Broadmoor Baptist is having a Hispanic fair September 30th, and they asked you know who to be the speaker for that event. So I will be there September 30th, helping them with their Hispanic fair for National Hispanic Heritage Month, September 30th.
And let me mention, Mr. Chairman, administration is aware of the community meeting scheduled for MLK on Thursday afternoon at 6. And I would,
We got people going.
yeah, I mean, so it's, I think this communication has been done in those
Yes, sir.
departments that has been requested. I would look to see them there.
CEO Crawford has already,
Confirm that.
I've directed him to direct them to be out there.
That's what it's about. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, you know, Southern, when did they open up there? About what year? You remember?
50 years ago.
50 years ago.
50 years ago. Let's just count. Do the math.
It's grown a lot, hasn't it?
Yes, sir, it has. It has grown tremendously. And of course, you know, we just cut a ribbon on the new building that's named after Alphonse Jackson Jr. And we did that with Councilman Bradford, I think he was there. Last month, yes. And so they've got this new beautiful wing with special training for those young people. So, yeah, it's been 50 years. Yeah. And so it's really growing, and we partner quite a bit with your legislation to help make sure that we can grow some of the programs out there for people that need to have the job training and the education so that they can become productive citizens. So thank you all so much.
Public comments?
Mr. Rob Broussard. State your name and address for the record.
Rob Broussard, 451 Sandifer, Shreveport, Louisiana. Madam Mayor, Mr. Fleury, Mr. Bowman, council members, several things I want to address. First of all, October 3rd, National Night Out. We'll be hosting, the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association will be hosting a National Night Out at AC Steer Park. Okay, we'll have some hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. And we, of course, would give any of you an opportunity to speak, you know, if you'd like to, because there's several things that we want to bring up. You know, I appreciate Mr. Bradford's comments on the sports arena, hitting to the point about deciding what we want versus what we need. And if we look back in recent history, you'll note that there were several issues that have come up before government bodies where that phrase was used. The first time with the school board $108 million bond issue, where we targeted wants versus needs. The citizens got an opportunity to vote in that, and we all know how they voted, a resounding no. The flat tax for garbage fees, the citizens spoke, and they said no. The commission millages came up. The citizens spoke, and we said no. The sports arena came up. The citizens spoke, and we said no. That's 4 no's. Now, you guys voted 1 yes when we didn't have an opportunity to vote, and that was on that storage facility that's going up by Maryland's. And I would invite all of you, if you would please come to our National Night Out, to drive by there because they've started construction. And I would invite you to look and see just how close that is to our to Fern Avenue, and to see the footprint that it's going to take. And Mr. Jenkins was quoted as insinuating that the public was misinformed and that social media spread misinformation. Well, I think public media spoke loud and clear, as well as citizens. And if we were misinformed, I would have hoped that Mr. Jenkins would have taken the initiative and asked to come before the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association and spoke to its members on that or any other topic that we would rather have a representative speak to us on rather than having to use social media to address the situations. So, anytime y'all think that social media is being misused, please reference the fact that maybe that citizen's trying to get their point across, okay? Now, I note too, Mr. Jenkins, that the budget meeting is coming up, and we would ask that you would introduce some budgetary items that would help the Querbees Park Foundation with some of their renovation stuff. I know that they need money to continue their work out there, and I would hope that you would get with Mr. Jimbo West and entertain some budgetary items to get those needs taken care of. Also, I note that Akron is finally fixing to crank up. Great. It's been long overdue. I also note that recently we had a shooting in our area, and I've been working with the police department to try to find out what's happening, what steps are being taken to try to solve that crime. Thank you.
Sorry.
There is more. Thank you.
Okay, bring it on. Thank you.
Sammy Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. There are so many places in and around Shreveport with ditches and drains, and they are not at all safe. They never have been, and they never will be either. With that being said, I just wanted to be known that I don't like the looks of them, and neither do the people that I've been talking with. As the spokesperson, other people would have been down here to say something, but I just wanted it to be known that it's important that the parents need to talk to their kids and watch their children real close every chance they get when it rains, because this could come up again with somebody being swept away in one of these ditches, and it's not good for anybody. Children need to stay away from these ditches and out of them. They don't need to be playing around them. They need to also stay away from the drains. Where the ditches are at, I'd like a bunch of steel fences to be placed around the drains as well, so that the situation won't happen. At Columbia and Betty Virginia Park, there are, and other recreation parks as well, there are small bridges that I think need to be addressed as well. They should be hopefully bolted down with bolted gates on each side if this ever comes up. That way, if it comes up, they could be up like this, and they could just come down like that. At the same time, that would stop somebody from being swept away, or at least I hope it would. The person could hopefully grab onto one of them until help arrives. Maybe even a cross iron hatch as well could be available. I don't want this to ever happen again, or anyone to be swept away anymore. It happened to John Combest, and I was just really upset as much as everybody else was during the summertime when we had our summer program, and we were all very sad. There must be an increased situation taken care of, so we just don't want this to happen. Maybe an increased awareness, that's what I meant. We need to have an increased awareness of this situation. So I want evidence done. I want evidence to be taken care of right on this situation. If you could do this, it really would be very much appreciated, very much.
Thank you very much. That's it. Okay, any other business before the council? Miss.